Happy Friday. All right. The left attempts to destroy America's 250th birthday. Let's check it out. Welcome to Rob Schmitt Tonight. There is a theory that empires rarely last longer than 250 years. That is 10 generations. Something to think about as we close in on our 250th birthday in just 5 weeks. The divide that seems destined to destroy this country continues to grow deeper, and Trump's presidency has left Democrats very angry with very little patriotism. The left hates the president, the flag, our national pride. They mock your desire to live in a safe and sovereign country with police and borders. They have too much guilt to want the same things that you do. And naturally, they're mocking our country's 250th birthday celebration, including all the patriotism and fun that will surround it. The left is actively working to destroy an amazing event. From a musical perspective, this party was never going to be an A-list affair. You knew that. Because Marxist Hollywood would never allow its biggest and brightest stars to be associated with anything like this. And now we're seeing the artists the administration was able to compile begin to cancel very fast as we move closer to this party that starts here in just a few weeks. Bullied into quitting this gig or facing the consequences. Bret Michaels from Poison dropped out today, citing violent threats to himself and to his family. Violent threats to himself and to his family because he was going to perform at the country's 250th birthday party. That's where we're at. To understand what's happening to all of this and why this is the way it is, just take a listen to this from MS Now.
These artists signed up for what I believe, given the comments that they've made, were an America 250 celebration, like 4th of July, yes, of course, 250th anniversary, and then quickly found out that they actually signed up to be a part of specifically a Trump thing. Donald Trump is trying to hijack this moment to be about him, which is so uniquely authoritarian, literally the script writes itself. I think the artists, they have some more responsibility. Y'all got to check. Yeah. Y'all just can't be signing up for any Tom, Dick, and Harry event and then being like, oh my God, we didn't know.
She's an idiot anyway, but it's the 250th birthday party of this country, right? Like, just why don't you relax? If you were an artist, though, and were asked to perform at an event like this, would you do it? When they try to kill the president like every few months at this point? California man known for his Trump-themed home was just beaten to death in his yard in Southern California recently. Although the killer has not been found at this point, we know the motive. We know why this happened. The left is doing what it does best. It is silencing, while astroturfing its own insane agenda over this country to make their lunacy feel ubiquitous, to make you think that everyone somehow supports their nonsense. It takes a lot of bullying to create that illusion, right? That their ideas are what everybody wants. It takes a tremendous amount of bullying, and that's exactly what they're doing. That's what they do to artists in Hollywood. That's what they're doing to everybody. Look at the LA mayoral race is a great example of that. Spencer Pratt has the quiet support of likely millions of people in the city of Los Angeles who probably can't admit that they're voting for him. Think about how screwed up that is. There is a huge swell of support, but nobody can talk about it. They made an AI ad based off of that, how everybody was too scared to admit that they're voting for Spencer Pratt and somebody that's actually going to clean up and take care of their city and let them live the prosperous and wonderful and safe life that this country deserves. He's got support all over the place, including some of the biggest movie stars in Hollywood that he has just revealed are supporting him, but are doing so privately. Take a listen to this.
Everyone's missing who's voting for me. The only people that aren't are the socialists, the lunatics, and the communists. But any normal functioning brain that doesn't want to step in human poop when they get their matcha is voting for me, which is a lot of people.
That's a lot of people, and that's exactly how it is. And that's exactly the way this country feels right now. Everybody wants kind of the same kind of life, but we all are under this impression that there's something wrong with that you can't believe that you're bad if you want to have just a safe society with cops and, you know, criminals thrown in jail, homeless people taken off the streets. If the Marxist left, which is, by the way, creating this illusion that you're not allowed to want that, and its tactics are not destroyed, if the Democrat Party does not begin making its way back toward the middle and leave that flank of its party out to dry, we are in trouble. And our 250th birthday might be our last big one. Congressman Randy Fine is a member of the Congressional America 250 Caucus, helping promote the anniversary. He joins us now. The cancellations from your musical guests are quite telling, aren't they?
Time that we live in, where artists are threatened with violence if they're going to show up to a 250th birthday party. There's nothing political about America 250. There's nothing political about America's state fair. All 50 states plan to participate in it. But Democrats have now said overwhelmingly that they hate America. I mean, many of them are open about it. They don't think America is good. They are there to destroy it. And what's hardest for me as a member of Congress is having to serve alongside of people who do not want the best for America, but seek to destroy it.
I mean, Brett Michaels, I really believe that he dropped out of this thing because he was worried that somebody was going to murder his entire family. I mean, if you read his statement, he says that there were unforgivable threats being made to himself and to his family to perform at a concert for the 250th anniversary of this country. And
I'm sure there were.
Working. That it's go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there were. I mean, look, I could show you the DMs that I get in my online posts every day. I'm sure they're not used to the kinds of hate-filled rhetoric that people say. And not everything that you're told is a death threat. You'll get hundreds of, I hope you die. I hope someone kills you. They're probably not used to that. We have to understand the left has legitimized violence. They've celebrated the people who've shot at President Trump. They've celebrated people who kill healthcare executives. They have said that violence in pursuit of their goals is okay. So why should we be surprised? The problem is these artists are probably normal people. They don't realize how radicalized much of the left has become. So I'm sure they're scared, and they simply say it's just not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, when you really see the full throttle effect of what the left can do in Hollywood, where you literally cannot have an opinion that is outside of their jurisdiction and what they want. And if you do, you are blackballed, you are out. And I think that affects that. Obviously is why, you know, you're not going to get any major stars to perform in this thing anyways, because everybody's terrified that it'll be the last show they ever do. I got to leave it there. Congressman Randy Fine, we appreciate you coming on. Good to see you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
All right. The president also using our 250th birthday as an excuse to clean the place up, specifically Washington, D.C. The Columbus Circle fountain outside Union Station in Washington has not been operable since 2007. Look at how beautiful that is. I mean, I love anything like that. It's just some of the history of this country, beautiful art like that, architecture is just amazing. All the things that this country, all the things that we built long ago are so much more beautiful than the modern things. Look at what they've let happen to it. In recent years, it was defaced and defiled by criminals and pro-terrorist sympathizers. This is what we're letting happen to some of the most beautiful parts of this country. Somehow, Trump fixing these issues is irritating his critics. Here's how he talks about it.
Take a look at this. Water is now flowing at the Columbus Circle fountain near Washington, D.C.'s Union Station. Before today, the Columbus fountain hadn't been working since 2007.
Any effort to clean the city, maintain the city, refurnish it, remodel is a good thing, regardless of, you know, who's doing it or for what reason.
Exactly. That's how every American thinks about things. Like, look at the fountain now. Look at how beautiful that looks. What you're seeing on the screen is pissing off people in Washington, D.C. that are against the president. The most basic symbol of the decay Democrats have allowed to overtake our cities is being reversed, and they're angry about that. Lee Zeldin's our EPA administrator. He is leading the effort to clean up the public spaces ahead of America 250. Joins us now. Lee, good to see you. 22 fountains, 42 monuments refurbished. You did a fantastic job with all this. A reflecting pool as well getting cleaned up. Why is there anger over this?
It's because President Trump wants it so badly. I mean, he stays up at night thinking about the next project to make beautiful the next day. And it's known that this is President Trump's leadership. You have multiple agencies involved in the Department of Interior with Secretary Burgum, and others have been implementing the president's order. This is about getting those fountains working, the reflective pool, getting our monuments looking beautiful, the landscaping, the safety. President Trump's thinking about lighting. He's thinking about tiles. I mean, he's just so in the weeds on how to make Washington, D.C. as beautiful as possible for this special celebration for this country. That is why the left is so upset about it.
Yeah, and he does. I mean, he's. I'm sure he's obsessing over the details on all of this. That's the builder in him. You know, I've played golf with him where he'll sit there and talk about how they need to cut a tree branch down so that more sun can get on the grass here so the grass grows better. And I'm thinking, you're the President of the United States. Why could you possibly care about this? But that's just how his mind works. It's beautifying, creating a safer city in Washington. I also think it identifies just how bad the left has let this country get. And I think they don't like that being exposed. If people walk out of their house and say, wow, this is a lot nicer, it might change their vote. You had a judge today, Lee, blocking the White House from closing the Trump Kennedy Center as well for renovations, ruling that the president has to remove his name from the building and from the website, as Obama-appointed judge, of course, claiming the board did not have the authority to rename the facility on its own. The president responding, Democrats care more about opposing him than actually fixing what's been a very decaying performing arts center. Does that stack up to you? That sounds right to me.
You have an Obama judge and the left fearing what the result looks like when the president implements his vision for making the Kennedy Center look amazing. It's been deteriorating. It needs this work. And what the left has been doing, and it's all over social media, where they will post photos while the work is in progress, like while the reflecting pool is getting fixed or while the ballroom is getting built in for the East Wing. What they fear is that when those construction photos are done, what's going to be there is going to be amazing. It's going to be beautiful, and it's going to be President Trump's creation. There is just amazing contrast in this moment as we approach the 250th birthday, that you have one party under this leader, President Trump, who wants to lift up this country, restore it to glory and beauty, and you have another party that for years now has been trying to tear it down. Like they're the ones who want to deface these monuments. They want to tear down the monuments. They want to change history. They don't want to see this progress and this American exceptionalism to shine. And I think for a lot of Americans, average everyday Americans, they see it. And that's why that one clip you just showed of that one rider, you know, who knows who he voted for president? It doesn't matter. But you know, as somebody who lives in Washington, D.C., he's saying, I love my community as transcending blind partisan loyalty. Just make this place as safe and free and prosperous, as beautiful as possible.
That's exactly right. And I think for Americans that maybe haven't been to D.C. in 10 or 15 years, might go for the 250th, you should go, because I think they're going to be surprised. I noticed how much safer it is, and now, thanks to you and the administration, I'm sure it's much cleaner, too, and much more beautiful. The EPA Administrator, Lee Zeldin, good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
All right, coming up here after the break, the president eyes a deal with Iran, but no decision today was made. We're going to discuss how this thing could go coming up. And then later, what Knicks fans think about Trump attending a finals game.
A Social Security update. Millions collect Social Security, but 70% of Americans don't get their full benefits. Now, a new report shows how to boost your Social Security by as much as $188,000. Author Matthew Allen reveals 5 key strategies in a new report. Newsmax calls it the best guide for retirees. Everyone needs this free Social Security report. Act today to get your full benefits.
Is it just the mustache? No. It's the way he brings me a fresh cup of Black Radical coffee.
Honey, you having a Riley Green dream again?
Just give me 5 more minutes.
Okay.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis? With fewer symptoms from moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, where would you go? Imagine being a million miles away. With Tremfya, clearer skin is possible. And for adults with active psoriatic arthritis, Tremfya goes beyond the skin. less joint pain, stiffness, and swelling is possible. And Tremfya even reduced fatigue. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Ask your doctor about Tremfya.
48% of Americans aren't getting enough magnesium, which is essential for nerve, bone, and muscle health. I recommend Cunol High Absorption Magnesium Glycinate. It's gentle on the stomach and helps you get the full benefits of magnesium. Cunol, the brand I trust.
And welcome back. Trump wrapping up his high-stakes Iran meeting in the Situation Room earlier today as we wait to see what happens with this. By all accounts, the administration believes it's very close to a deal, but Trump pushing off a final decision here. According to the New York Times, the sticking point is unfreezing the Islamic regime's funds, $6 billion reportedly held by Qatar, intended for humanitarian purposes in Iran. We'll see if the regime actually gets that to the people. The president insinuating in a Truth Social post this morning that the Iran deal is much more advanced than a 60-day ceasefire. Trump stating that Iran must agree to never have a nuclear weapon, open the Strait of Hormuz, no tolls or restrictions, no more mine laying, and he's going to be lifting the U.S. blockade of their ports. Nuclear dust will be extracted by the U.S. in coordination with Iran and the International Atomic Energy Agency. Trump also vowing no money will be exchanged until further notice. We want to break down exactly what's happening here. Khosro Isfahani is the senior analyst at the National Union for Defense, or for Democracy, I should say, in Iran. And Khosro, it's good to see you again. I mean, I'm going to say it. I think it's insane that it does seem like they're moving towards a potential deal here that will lift this blockade against Iran before Iran physically meets any of the promises. Is that the feeling that you're getting? Because that doesn't feel good.
That's absolutely how most Iranians are perceiving these talks. We are dealing with a fascist Islamist state that has occupied Iran for the past 5 decades, killed tens of thousands of innocent Iranians and citizens of many other countries, and we are throwing a piece of paper at them, hoping that it would contain this system. It's not going to happen. The Islamic Republic, if you look at their official language, what they are saying publicly in their propaganda, in their diplomatic communications, they are preparing for the next round of conflict. When you look at what they are saying in Tehran, they are preparing for an end of times war. That's the Islamic Republic that we are dealing with. President Trump has vowed historically, whether you look at his first term or the current administration, he has vowed to use diplomacy and every possible tool to prevent America incurring high costs for containing American adversaries. And he's trying to achieve that goal with the lowest possible price. That's what he had promised the American population, and he's pursuing it. I don't believe it's going to work with the Islamic Republic because it's not in the nature of this regime to accept peace. They seek war.
They seek war. And I just, again, we don't know what's happening on the inside. And, just as, we had Tommy Tuberville, the senator from Alabama, on last night, and he said you just have to kind of trust the process. You can't get too caught up in what's leaking out of it, what the media is projecting. But even in the president's Truth Social today, it seemed to indicate that potentially that a deal could be made, and that this blockade that is starving this regime right now, this terrible terror regime, might be opened up before we get this nuclear dust and before this nuclear program is ended. And it just feels like it would be very easy for Iran to pull a bait and switch here. Open it up, get a lot of money pouring in really fast, dump a lot of oil onto the markets and refuel, kind of get their situation back together, and then just pull a fast one, which is what they're notorious for. It's hard for me to imagine that this administration would fall for that because they were so critical of the Obama deal. But in a way, it feels like we could be watching it happen.
That's exactly every analyst, every Iran expert who cares about U.S. national security, about the future of the Middle East. If you talk with any of them, they would exactly deliver the same analysis that you laid out. Everyone who knows the Islamic Republic knows that this regime is not going to be contained by a piece of paper. If we offer them any sort of relief, that money is going to be redirected at terrorism, at the expansion of weapons of mass destruction programs, at building missiles and drones that have already proven that they can hit the heart of Europe, and a regime that has shown it's not going to shy away from killing tens of thousands of innocent Iranians inside Iran. Where does that come in the calculation? That's the question that many Iranians ask. President Trump promised the Iranians that help is on the way, help arrived, and the job is not done yet.
Yeah, we have to wait. We have to kind of trust the process. I do believe that. I don't think this is an easily duped administration, certainly not after what they learned from Obama. But Khosro, I got to leave it there, but I appreciate you coming on. We will follow what happens with this deal. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, coming up here, Jaxson Dart, the quarterback, responds to all the fury over his rally with the president as the left attempts to destroy his life and career for it. Up next, Enes Kanter Freedom, former NBA player blackballed by that league for his politics, joins us on that. Plus, Trump is heading to Madison Square Garden for a Knicks finals game. Brent gets reaction from Knicks fans right outside the Garden. Up next.
President Trump, I'm giving you this trick right here. This is just for you, Trump. This is just for you. Bang! I am amazing.
O'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Immuno 150 may be the best food supplement in the world because it contains 70 plant minerals and 80 other nutrients. The 3 videos on our website tell you how this product and 7 times more minerals can improve your health.
Mike Hammond of Signal Relief. We've helped nearly 700,000 feel relief in their back, shoulders, and knees with our technology. But for many of us, it's our feet that hurt. And when they hurt, our walks get shorter, activities are skipped, and the moments we love start slipping away. That's why we created the Signal Step, a patent-pending insole built using the same proven technology people already trust from Signal Relief. Signal uses no drugs. There's nothing on the market like it. It's relief without the side effects. It's reusable, fits virtually into any shoe, and in a recent study, over 85% felt relief, and it comes with a money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Feel relief with every step. If you're hurting, go to signalstep.com and get relief today.
Don't kibble your dog.
Oh, hey, Dr. Marty.
Hey, Bat.
But what's wrong with this? It's premium stuff.
Let's check it out. It's still kibble, which means it's ultra-processed at extremely high temperatures that destroy the nutrients in the food. But at Dr. Marty, we gently freeze-dried premium meats, fruit, and vegetables, locking in their nutrients.
Never kibbled.
You got it, kid, and they're gonna love it.
Rain cancels plans. The Bearskin Heavy Storm Rain Jacket cancels rain. Fishing, back on. Hunting, back on. Oh dear. Metal detecting, if that's your thing, back on. All right. The Bearskin Heavy Storm Rain Jacket comes with rainstallation technology that locks out wet weather to keep you dry. Rain shouldn't decide your day.
Get 60% off and free delivery when you go to rainjacket.tv.
Finished my chores. Ready for my allowance.
Greenlight is way better than how I got paid for chores. Mowing all those lawns really paid off.
That was not radical. Bring your family into the financial future.
When we started Allegiance, we were shocked to learn how many American flags are actually made overseas.
If there's one thing that deserves to be made here in America, it should start with the American flag.
At Allegiance, we do it differently. Flags 100% made in America, by Americans, with American materials.
Join our pledge to make the American flag truly American.
Visit showallegiance.com to get your high-quality American flag today. That's showallegiance.com.
Immuno 150 may be the best food supplement in the world because it contains 70 plant minerals and 80 other nutrients. The 3 videos on our website tell you how this product and 7 times more minerals can improve your health.
Some things are bigger than football. Align himself with a man like President Trump. It's my responsibility, based on what I believe and what I stand on, to not only show my teammates that I'm against that, but to show the world.
Being asked and given the opportunity to introduce the President of the United States, my thinking was pretty simple, in the fact of, I've always loved this country.
All right, so after Giants quarterback Jaxson Dart introduced President Trump at last week's rally in Suffern, New York, there was, as you would imagine, a lot of fury from the left over a moment like that. One of Dart's teammates, Abdul Carter, writing on X, thought this bleep was AI. What are we doing, man? A post that went viral and created a big headache for the team. Sources now telling NFL Network Jaxson Dart was forced to address his teammates at a Tuesday meeting this week, all over that. Issues you never see when the politics are reversed, when they go the other way. Cancel culture warriors at left-wing rag Midas Touch dug into Jaxson Dart's Instagram history in response to this and put out a whole big hit piece called Jaxson Dart's Trump Instagram Likes Exposed, highlighting various conservative posts that Dart has liked in the past, praying that the NFL will overreact to this. That's what everybody wants, right? To cancel him, to destroy him. Enes Kanter Freedom knows that story. He's a former NBA player who was blackballed by the league for calling out human rights abuses in communist China over and over again. And Enes joins us now, and it's good to have you back on the show. I want to start with the NBA views you as a thought criminal. I think the left is hoping that Jaxson Dart will be ostracized in a similar manner, right?
Thank you for having me. I am proud of Jaxson, and it's so crazy that he actually has to come out and actually tell his teammates about what he did. Because I know from firsthand, in those locker rooms, there are many players, many athletes from different political beliefs. There are Republicans, Democrats, there are many actually athletes who support President Trump and not, Yeah. But for him for him to get a lot of hate on, the media, by his teammates, it just shows that how the cancel culture is real, and it's disgusting. But you know what? I'm proud of him. Yeah. He came out as a brave man and just introduced President Trump, so good for him.
The funniest thing about it is that, if let's just say for a second that professional athletes in this country elected the President of the United States, their vote was all that mattered, the Republican would win almost every time. There's no question in my mind that most athletes generally lean conservative. I just know this. So it's funny that the left can weaponize this even when they're in the minority. They can scream offensive and create all of this furor. And when it goes the other way, you would never see it. If Jaxson Dart had introduced Barack Obama at some event, you wouldn't hear anything about it.
No, exactly. And I know from firsthand when I, go on, have meeting with some of the Republican, politicians, and many of my teammates comes and whisper in my ear, "Hey, man, like we support you. Keep doing what you do." And I'm like, "Why are you whispering in my ear?" Right. And they were like, "Well, because I don't want my other teammates to know that, I support the Republican Party." So. Unbelievable, disgusting. But you know what? Good for him. We need more leaders like Jaxson to come out and stand for what they believe in.
Want to talk basketball with you for a second. Your former team, the New York Knicks, back in the finals. They want their first championship title since 1973 is what they're hoping to get. The president confirmed this week, he's a very New York guy, as we know, that he was invited. He's going to be attending one of the upcoming games at MSG in New York. Our governor, Kathy Hochul, is trying to paint herself as more of a New Yorker than Trump, trying to paint herself as a bigger sports fan than Trump, pulls a move without doing her homework and just fully humiliates herself. Take a look.
What do you think of him saying he's a lifelong Knicks fan? I think that's how the Times reported it.
I asked him to name the starting lineup from 1993 championship team and see how he does.
Oh,
now, Enes, you know why this is funny, because the Knicks weren't even in those finals. That was the Bulls and the Suns. They weren't even in the championship. What's your reaction to that?
Actually, just this morning, I was watching this clip of President Trump attending the Knicks against the Lakers game around 20 years ago, and he came to watch Kobe play. So, everybody knows the President Trump is a true Knicks fan, and he's a New Yorker. He even, he wants to see New York do so well. He even sitting down with politicians like Mamdani because he cares about New York so much. So, for Governor Hochul to come out and make, unnecessary comment like that is just weird, because people are excited. When Knicks do good, the whole sports world is excited. And for a governor, to come out and make a comment like that, people are just like, it just backfired, And I've been walking around in New York for the last
she didn't do her homework.
Exactly. I've been walking around New York for the last 2-3 days. People are excited. Sports should bring people together. But when politicians like that, just come out and make comments like that, it just divides people more, and people rolls their eyes. I'm not even taking those comments as seriously. And everybody knows, President Trump is a true sports fan because of all the UFC fights that he's been attending. So it's good that he's attending a basketball game. I'm excited.
He loves all sports. I've seen him at golf matches. I've seen him at the U.S. Open tennis. I've seen him at baseball games. He is a sports nut. Are you going to go to any games in New York?
I'm actually going to a game in Oklahoma because tomorrow is a Game 7, OKC against the Spurs, and I'm hoping that my former team wins. So it's going to be my former team defending champ, OKC Thunder against the Knicks. It's going to be an amazing matchup. So I'm excited. It's going to be an amazing show for the sports world.
Going to be some good basketball. And it's good to see you. Thanks so much. Have fun at the game.
Thank you for having me.
I think I'll be going to one of the games. I was invited by numerous people.
So it appears that the president is heading to Madison Square Garden to root for the Knicks. The president likely attending an NBA Finals game here in the next couple of weeks. That's pretty exciting. Brent went to the Garden earlier today on the west side of Manhattan to get reaction from Knicks fans to this plan.
The New York Knicks are in the NBA Finals, and President Trump says he plans to attend one of the games here at Madison Square Garden. New York Democrats like Kathy Hochul might not love it, but what do actual Knicks fans think? You want President Trump to come to the game?
Yes.
Yeah, he should come to the game.
I hope I meet Mayor Mamdani. I would love if he were at the Knicks Finals.
Trump, you're a great president. I hope you come to the Knicks game, and I'll go with you. Bring me in with you because I'm your #1 fan.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul, she's no fan of Trump. She goes, if he's such a big Knicks fan, he should be able to name everybody from the 1993 New York Knicks championship team. But the only problem is...
They didn't win the championship in '93.
Right, they weren't even in the championship that year.
That was a bad moment, yeah. Maybe he had a brain fart.
She doesn't know what she's talking about.
She doesn't know anything about basketball.
Politicians trying to be cool, and they can never be cool.
New York Congressman Hakeem Jeffries posting with his Knicks hat. He's being ripped by critics online who are saying his face looks a little different. That might be face-tuned.
It looks a little face-tuney / maybe AI.
Facetune, I don't even know what that is.
AI, filter it up.
Kind of looks photoshopped.
I'm happy he's wearing a Knicks cap, but it's he does look different, right? Maybe a little makeup, I don't know.
President Trump, I'm giving you this trick right here. This is just for you, Trump. This is just for you. Bang! I am amazing. Bang! Go New York!
There you go. Oh, that's fun. And how about these nerdy politicians all trying to act like they're cool because their team finally made it into the finals? I mean, it is just too rich. And the president going to a Knicks game for the finals, that is going to be very interesting, especially with his plans for Penn Station and that surrounding area here in New York. All right, coming up after the break, stupid and angry is a really bad combination.
I've been a Marine Corps attack pilot, a White House correspondent, and a wartime journalist. But my biggest responsibility is finding the truth in this chaotic, deceptive environment.
Watch Greg Kelly Reports, only on Newsmax.
We've been building chainsaws for over 100 years. Now that century of cutting comes in a mower. New blade, same bloodline.
What if you're sick at home or traveling and can't get medical help or prescriptions? Doctors say a medical emergency kit is the answer. Joining me is Dr. Drew.
Thank you. And yes, these kits put you in charge of your health. They come with physician-prescribed medication to treat multiple common and some serious issues as well.
What are some examples?
Sure. Generic Z-Pak, amoxicillin, other essential antibiotics and antivirals that treat flu, pneumonia, strep, ear infections, sinus infections, urinary tract infections, and more.
So it is like urgent care and a pharmacy at home?
Exactly. No waiting, no pharmacy, no copays. You feel better faster and avoid serious complications.
How do you know what medicines to take?
You just match your symptoms to the doctor-written guide or schedule a quick telehealth call.
Sound advice. Order online in minutes at the website below and save $45. Thank you, doctor.
Visit urgentcarekit.com/news, promo code news.
Kevin Sorbo here, and I have an important message to share. The government needs more money, your money. If you owe the IRS back taxes, they can garnish your wages and levy your bank accounts. They can even seize your retirement or take your home. Don't let the IRS target you. Call the professionals at Tax Network USA. Their tax lawyers and enrolled agents are experts in powerful programs that may even help you eliminate your tax debt.
Call for a free consultation or visit tnusa.com.
From senior to childcare to pets and more, the new Care.com makes it easier than ever to find the care you need. And you don't have to hire just anyone. You can find a background-checked caregiver who's the right fit for you. Join now and find care at Care.com.
This little light of mine, in the dark found a hopeful sign.
For those with depression not getting enough relief from their antidepressant, adding Caplyta can help you let in the light, providing greater relief from depression symptoms than an antidepressant alone. And unlike some medications, Caplyta is also proven to deliver significant symptom relief from both bipolar 1 and 2 depression.
Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Caplyta is not approved for dementia-related psychosis. Call your doctor about new or sudden mood changes, behaviors, or suicidal thoughts right away. Antidepressants may increase these risks. Report fever, confusion, stiff muscles, which may be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High cholesterol and weight gain may occur, as can high blood sugar, which may be fatal. Common side effects are sleepiness, dizziness, nausea, dry mouth, feeling tired, and diarrhea. These aren't all the side effects.
Ask your doctor about Caplyta.
Help see more of the light inside of me.
I'll kill your whole family. Your whole family's dead. Come on. Your children, your wife, come on. All dead. I have your face, mother. You're dead.
Terrible people, and they're also not the smartest bunch. As you can see, another night of anti-ICE insurrection is clashing with those officers outside that Newark, New Jersey ICE detention center. Rioters threatening ICE officers and their family, doing it right on camera, right on video, demanding that they quit their jobs, saying that I've got your face, you're all going to die. That's criminal. He's going to go to jail as soon as they figure out who he is. Video capturing ICE agents facing a hostile mob equipped with gas masks, having to smash protesters with batons. I mean, this is not protesting. I don't know why we continue to put up with this. Even pepper spraying a few of them. This is how hostile and ridiculous this gets. This isn't a protest. This is an insurrection. Put it down. DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen reacting, saying approximately 100 anti-ICE rioters gathered around the Delaney Hall ICE facility. Rioters bit, kicked, and punched law enforcement officers, adding 9 were arrested. Seems a little light, but at least it's progress. Meanwhile, New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill is smearing American law enforcement, saying that ICE has made things less safe outside of Delaney Hall. Take a listen to this.
We've seen over the past 4 nights continued interactions between ICE and protesters. We really feel like adding ICE to this situation has made things less safe. And we've seen a surge now in ICE agents coming into the region, which has given us a great deal of concern. We know from other states that is not how ICE would take charge of the situation.
Why don't they just take every illegal that they find and dump them in the state of New Jersey and see how she feels at that point? Dr. Michael Savage joins us now, host of Savage Nation Sunday nights here on Newsmax. Good to see you, sir. We're still messing with this. We're not putting this down. I mean, this isn't a protest. This is ridiculous. Your thoughts?
These are agitators. They're paid agitators. They're out-of-state agitators. This is not what the Constitution permits. This is not peaceably redressing grievances. This is, as you say, an insurrection. There's also a high degree of mental illness in that crowd. I've watched them. Did you see the girl with the bullhorn the other day, over and over yelling in one of the ICE agents' face? How much can these guys take? And, you know, I've seen this in the 60s. It's the same exact MO. And unfortunately, that rioting by the insurrectionists ended in tragedy when the Ohio National Guard opened up with live rounds on so-called student protesters at the university, Kent State. 4 were killed, 9 were wounded. And I'm afraid that the same thing is going to happen if they keep this up, which, of course, is exactly what the Soros-generated rioters want.
That's what they want.
They want this. They're dying for them to have live rounds fired at them. And you look at the politicians, you wound me up again. You watch Nadler and the others saying, oh, we went in there and they're not being treated properly. One woman didn't get a mammogram. Why doesn't she get a mammogram in Guatemala, where she came from, is what I ask. They're getting better food, better medical care, better social care than they ever had in their lives. It's all a lie being promulgated by the Democrat
But
left.
3 or 4 of them, Dr. Savage, 3 or 4 of them don't get exactly what they want for dinner, and they stage a hunger strike, and everybody loses their mind over that, which I just found to be comical.
Well, let them starve to death if they don't want to eat. Okay? What do I care what happens to them? These are not protesters. We all know that. These are professionally paid agitators. They're suffering from a mental disorder, which has been defined as histrionic personality disorder, a mental health condition, by the way, marked by, listen to this, unstable emotions and a distorted self-image and an overwhelming desire to be noticed. People with HPD often behave dramatically or inappropriately to get attention. Hello? It seems to me many of them are crazy, in plain English.
Yeah. It's something else. I got 30 seconds, so I wanted to ask you about tariffs as well. The president wrote you a letter regarding a piece that you wrote on tariffs at some point. Tell us about this.
He retweeted a piece I had done a year ago about tariffs, which has not only my opinion on it, but some historic references to how tariffs were used to build this nation. And apparently, I don't know how he got it. I normally, wouldn't harangue the president in the middle of a war with a thing like that. Somebody sent it to him, and out of the blue over the weekend, I got that from the president saying, I don't know, whatever, nice words. He said nice things to me. And, of course, I said that's really great because I really do believe that the tariffs are very good for our economic health in this nation. I'm glad the president's people picked up on it.
That's great. I love it. That's a good one. It's always nice to get a letter from the president. It doesn't happen every day. Dr. Savage, good to see you. Sunday nights here on Newsmax.
Thanks very much.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
A new survey. Good to see you. All right. A new survey from the New York Times showing Democrat voters dissatisfied with the party, revealing massive fractures inside the Democrat coalition. Check this out. 47% of Democrat voters say they'd like to see the party move toward the middle. 47% say it's going too far left. 28% it needs to go further left. 19% say it's right where it ought to be, which means the bulk of people think it needs to go back the other direction, back towards common sense. Slightly higher portion, 52% said the party needs to move to the center to win in the next presidential election, compared with 25% who say it needs to move left if they want to win. 18% say it doesn't need to move at all. Dick Morris, advisor to the president, joins us now breaking down these numbers. What do you make of those kind of numbers? Is there any indication that Democrats will listen to those numbers?
Well, it's why Trump is going to keep Congress. All the commentators talk about his approval rating and opinions of the economy, and those all matter. But the point is that the country is fed up with the Democratic Party and believes it needs to move to the center. That question said, do you need to move to the center on immigration and gender equality, or gender justice, as they call it? So when you see a riot like that you covered earlier in your show, it is absolutely a Trump rally. I mean, this is why voters who may be iffy about the economy are going to vote for Republican congressional candidates, because they see what the Democratic Party is. And the Times Siena poll, which took that survey, very reliable company, basically is liberal. And when they tell the Democratic Party, you better move to the center, they better listen. The problem is they can't listen, because then they'll lose their primaries.
Yeah, that's exactly. Well, I mean, when you got guys like Plattner and Tallarico running in the Senate, it doesn't seem like this plan is working. These are not moderate candidates.
Right. That's the problem. The party moves to the left. And that's always true of the Democratic Party when it loses elections. It happened with Carter, it happened with Mondale, it happened with Dukakis. When they lose, they do not move to the center. They move further to the left. And then they become very vulnerable. And that's why Trump is going to win Congress. Both houses.
That's a bold prediction. We'll see if it comes true. Dick Morris, good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. Homeless zombies for thee, but not for me. Up next.
I have 2 little kids, I feel badly that I'm even subjecting them to that at all.
Doctors recommend turmeric more than any other supplement for joint health. I trust Cunol Ultra High Absorption Turmeric, made with the #1 doctor recommended form of turmeric, clinically tested to support joint health and a healthy inflammation response. Cunol, the brand I trust.
As the leader of the Coalition for Student Wellbeing, I believe students must be at the table when discussing youth mental health. Alongside their parents, kids are navigating a challenging world during formative years in their lives. Major life changes, academic pressures, and financial challenges can feel overwhelming. The type of stress can look really different for each student. That's why we need a thoughtful, comprehensive solution informed by young people. Get involved today at empowerourfuturecoalition.com.
Sensitive mouth and gums? Ever heard of Closest mouthwash? Your dentist and hygienist have. They know Closest is ultra gentle for sensitive mouths with non-burning mouthwashes that freshen breath, improve gum health, and strengthen teeth. Closest, the gentle mouthwash for sensitive mouths.
My paycheck was just deposited into my Greenlight account.
Greenlight is so convenient. You know, we had to use a vacuum tube.
Where is it going?
Bring your family into the financial future.
What if you could have shades like these for a fraction of big brand prices? With Shady Rays, you can. We're an independent company, so we do things differently. We offer high-quality polarized shades for a reasonable price. And we personally replace shades that get lost or broken. So far, we've racked up over 300,000 five-star reviews. I founded Shady Rays so that we could have sunglasses that stand up to whatever life throws at us. Order now and get 20% off site-wide at shadyrays.com.
I lost 110 pounds. You couldn't tell at all because of my excess skin. Sono Bello changed that in one visit.
Introducing the new Lift EX, the just one visit, total body transformation everyone is talking about.
I am super happy with my results.
I decided to give Sono Bello a try. Look at me, I have a silhouette. You can see my waist.
Lift EX is Sono Bello's breakthrough 360-degree body lift alternative. Our body contouring experts sculpt, tighten, and lift your stomach, waist, thighs, and backside, all in just one visit with less downtime.
Sono Bello targeted the areas diet exercise could not do. I found me again.
Sono Bello has over 50,000 five-star reviews, and Lift EX is exclusively available at Sono Bello, America's #1 cosmetic surgery specialist. Book your free, personalized consultation today. Easy monthly plans make your best body more affordable than ever.
This year is my year thanks to Sono Bello.
Call Sono Bello for your free consultation today.
If you still have bad breath by lunchtime, your mouthwash isn't working. Smart Mouth is the only mouthwash that prevents bad breath for 24 hours. This is the only mouthwash I recommend. Upgrade your mouthwash to Smart Mouth today and never have bad breath again.
And welcome back. It is time now for news from the left. First up, an incredible moment of hypocrisy exposed by some brilliant activists in Los Angeles who decided to set up fake homeless encampments right outside of L.A. mayoral candidate Nithya Raman's $2 million house in Los Angeles. What they set up here, it's incredible. They had people climbing out of tents, leaving their trash everywhere, acting out what so many other in the city have to deal with because of leadership like Nithya Raman's and Karen Bass's and the rest of the city council that are just destroying the city out of some deemed, I don't know, but I don't know what they think they're doing. They think they've got all the most virtuous ideas. Raman, who has fought against bills to keep homeless camps more than 500, I should say, feet from schools. So they want to ban homeless camps from being within 500 feet of schools. She's fighting it. Well, when she gets one right outside of her house, she's quite rattled by that because all of a sudden, as she says here, her kids were affected.
So I woke up this morning, there were people setting up what was, I think, a fake encampment, like a homeless encampment outside of my house. I think to make a political video that this is somebody who wants encampments on our streets, that she lets encampments be there. I have 2 little kids. I feel badly that I'm even subjecting them to that at all.
So she feels badly that she's subjecting her own kids to this, by running for mayor. She's subjecting everyone's kids to this by fighting against, again, a bill that would ban any of these encampments within 500 feet of schools. Because Spencer Pratt doesn't want moms to have to climb over homeless, psychotic drug addicts when they pick up their little kids, or have maybe a psychotic, drug-addicted homeless person chase them with their little kids as they run back to the minivan. Nithya Raman says, that's cruel. Why would you ever do that? But when the camp shows up outside her house, she's pissed. Next up, Jim Acosta fired CNN anchor on Katie Couric's podcast. The irrelevancy of these podcasters, both of them losing their minds over the Ellisons now owning both CNN and CBS.
And I'm very worried about what's taking place right now, because now it looks like it's a fait accompli that Paramount is going to be able to gobble up Warner Brothers Discovery. You're going to have what is essentially the makings of a propaganda giant in this country. And Katie, what concerns me so much about this, we haven't had that before in this country. You are taking two news organizations, CBS and CNN, trying to turn them into propaganda arms of the Trump administration.
Propaganda arms of the Trump administration. Again, you have two networks that have been visibly left for a very long time. Somebody wants to drag them back towards the middle, and that is a nightmare. That's a nightmare for these people. It's an existential threat to what they believe. Listen to what they do. Katie Couric, they have podcasts now. Jim Acosta has a podcast now. All he does is scream left-wing propaganda. That's what he believes. So anybody trying to drag these networks back to the middle, of course, is a threat to everything he believes. I mean, it's amazing to see how they don't understand that. You also had that kid that just won the award from CBS and talked trash about CBS at the award. None of these people have any idea where they actually are on the spectrum, the right-left political spectrum, and where the middle is. They all think they're in the middle, even though they are very far to the left, and they just refuse to accept that. They will not accept that. It is somewhat amazing to see how angry they get over all this. And finally tonight, an Atlanta cop who reportedly had very loud sex with a federal judge has been identified as a deputy chief in the Atlanta Police Department. We can pull up the video there. Kelly Collier is the Community Services Division Commander with the Atlanta PD, allegedly had quite the wild dalliance with Judge Eleanor Ross. A judicial complaint said that they engaged in sexual intercourse in chambers and during business hours over the course of a 2-year relationship. There we go, right there, teleprompter, you found it. Adding, the relationship demonstrated a gross lack of judgment. Well, I think that's easy enough to say. Resulted in a Chambers workplace that was extremely uncomfortable and troubling for the clerks, who it appears were forced to listen to extremely loud sex being had between a cop and a judge. Remember, this is the same city where we had Fannie Willis. We got the pictures of Fannie Willis and her lover Nathan Wade as well. I'd say, yeah, there they go. The people of Atlanta probably deserve a little bit better public servants. Maybe. All right, coming up here after the break, does this cow look familiar? His life was spared thanks to that beautiful hair.
When you're in the news business, it never stops. News is always breaking, and it's my job to get you the news, no spin, no BS. If you don't believe us, just watch us.
Watch Finity, weeknights, only on Newsmax.
People always ask me how I stay ready, how I stay consistent, how I lock in when it actually counts, again and again. It's the work you do before anyone's watching. They think I must be on something. Maybe. It's pure, it's potent. It's all me. Something that never lets me down. Armra. I'm on it.
He's breathing. Okay, we're good.
Nearly 5,000 people die from choking each year. That's frightening. I'm Dr. Ben Carson.
And I'm Arthur Lee. Well, there are ways to help prevent choking. Accidents do happen. That's why I invented the Life Pack.
Anyone can use this device, and it can save a life in seconds.
Just place, push, and pull. It's that simple. Please order one for your home, office, car, anywhere you eat.
Go to lifehack.net or call 877-543-3822.
My dad has never been in better shape. He had a stroke and passed away.
he had a life insurance policy. Ethos.com. In 10 minutes, you can be covered with life insurance.
Check your price today at ethos.com.
Mike Hammond of Signal Relief. We've helped nearly 700,000 feel relief in their back, shoulders, and knees with our technology. But for many of us, it's our feet that hurt. And when they hurt, our walks get shorter, activities are skipped, and the moments we love start slipping away. That's why we created the Signal Step, a patent-pending insole built using the same proven technology people already trust from Signal Relief. Signal uses no drugs. There's nothing on the market like it. It's relief without the side effects. It's reusable, fits virtually into any shoe, and in a recent study, over 85% felt relief, and it comes with a money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Feel relief with every step. If you're hurting, go to signalstep.com and get relief today.
Like a relentless weed, moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms can keep coming back.
Break away to what's possible with Tremfya.
The only IL-23 blocker for Crohn's and UC to offer self-administration from the start.
Tremfya can help with symptom relief as early as 4 weeks, remission at 12 weeks, 1 year, and 2 years.
Some had visible repair of their intestinal lining. Serious allergic reactions, increased risk of infections or lower ability to fight them, and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or need a vaccine. Break away with Tremfya.
Backed by over 15 years of clinical research. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today.
Don't kibble your dog.
Oh, hey, Dr. Marty.
Hey, Matt.
But what's wrong with this? It's premium stuff.
Let's check it out. It's still kibble, which means it's ultra-processed at extremely high temperatures that destroy the nutrients in the food. But at Dr. Marty, we gently freeze-dried premium meats, fruit, and vegetables, locking in their nutrients.
Never kibbled.
You got it, kid, and they're gonna love it.
And finally tonight, an albino water buffalo that went viral for resembling Donald Trump. Look at this buffalo. Was spared from getting slaughtered at the annual Islamic Feast of Sacrifice in Bangladesh. The buffalo jokingly earned the name Donald Trump because, of course, look at the hair. It's quite lovely hair for a cow or a buffalo. It was set to be killed during an Eid celebration. That's an Islamic holiday. Bangladeshi authorities, though, saved its life at the 11th hour, citing security concerns ahead of the festival. Security concerns, that's interesting. 4-year-old buffalo is now in the country's national zoo, named Donald Trump. Living good because he had the right hair. Lucky, lucky buffalo. That's all the time we got for tonight. Finity's up next. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.